My name is James Kademan, entrepreneur, author, speaker, and helpful coach to small business owners across the country. And today I am excited because we have Vivian Probst here in the studio. Vivian is an author of a few books, as well as taking on essentially the English language, as well as consulting for, I want to say low income, but you gave me a different phrase, affordable housing. There's a lot of stuff going on. Yeah. So let's welcome Vivian here.
Thank you so much. It's great to be with you again.
This is fun. Yeah. So I interviewed you a long time ago. We were trying to figure out when. Yeah. It's been a while.
Yeah.
You let's start out with the books that you have going on.
Okay.
You have another one coming out. You've already released one.
Yep.
Can you just tell us about the process, what the books are about, and we'll just take it from there?
Absolutely. This is a 5-volume series I've been working on for 20 years. And that either means, gee, Vivian, what's taking you so long? or I've been doing other things, which I have. I've had this consulting business, and we work with affordable housing all over the country. It's just a great program. So I'm a national trainer to that, so that keeps me busy.
All right.
But this has woven itself into my life, and it was just 2020 was the year to celebrate the 100th anniversary of women's rights to vote. And
yeah.
So my books, I decided that year that this year they're coming out. They're written.
All right.
They're not edited. I've got this one now is done, and then I have the second one, and I think your viewers will be able to see the cover of that one. And 3 more to work on, and I want them out this year. So,
nice.
Yeah.
So are the books fiction or nonfiction?
Oh, they're fiction.
Okay.
They're fiction, except
that
I wrote them. Each of them sort of showed up when I was dealing with a life challenge.
Oh, okay.
For instance, book 1, the main character who comes across throughout all 5. By the way, there's overlay of romance, there's overlay of mystery, there are overlays, but the real reason I started writing is because I was frustrated by what I wasn't accomplishing. I mean, it sounds like, oh, Vivian, you have your own company, and oh my goodness, you've been doing this all over the country, and wow, but I had some real issues to deal with.
Just internally?
Well, yeah, internally, and they showed up externally.
All right.
Book 1 showed up because I was making a very, very comfortable living, but I couldn't hold on to any of my money.
Oh.
And, you know, I'm willing to tell the world about that because writing this story fixed that problem for me.
Oh, all right.
So it started out as a dream. Simply, you know, sometimes you just beg for an answer, you know, and I was laying in bed one night and I'm like, good grief, Vivian, you're making all this money and look at your credit cards. What's going on here? So I don't know if I said it out loud or what, but I kind of just said, okay, whatever's going on here, I want to know the answer.
All right. So is this you're buying cars or fun stuff, or was it just
whatever I could.
It's going away on
whatever I could think of stuff.
Okay.
And clothing was a big piece, and furniture.
All right, so stuff you couldn't necessarily turn around.
Jewelry, and I just felt like I had to exemplify the best of everything, no matter what it cost.
All right.
The need to look like I had really arrived.
Okay.
You know? It was an image that I had put on myself.
All right.
So I go to bed this night. It's March 10th of 2000, so you can see now.
That's precise.
Yeah, well, it is. I wrote it down because the next morning I woke up. I'd had a dream, and the dream is in this book, but it's only a piece of it.
All right.
And so in the dream, I'm in a dungeon, medieval dungeon. I'm chained, which really... See, you can't go shopping if you're chained in a dungeon.
It's probably pretty tough.
Yeah. So,
not a whole lot of online access there.
So, I decided not to use myself as the character. So I created a character who isn't me, but she just had my major issues. And she's in this dungeon, and the first character that shows up is the spirit of her financial woes.
Oh.
And he tells her, your issue is not with money. So what was I going to do? I woke up from that and I told my husband, I have to know the rest of the story. That's helpful.
Sure.
But it doesn't get me where I want to go.
All right.
So I've always wanted to write.
Okay.
And I've written for our industry, but I've never really tried to invent a story like this series. So I did. And okay, if anyone here wants to see what my writing life is like and that of lots of other fiction writers, the movie The Man Who Invented Christmas.
Okay.
It's about Charles Dickens
Oh.
and how he wrote his stories. And you see that the characters show up and they talk and they tell him what to write. Oh. And if he refuses, they get up and leave.
Oh, wow.
It's a great depiction
All right.
of what it was like to write this series. And so all I did was listen to what was going on, listen to the characters, and life wrote this story.
All right.
Through me. Stephen King says stories pretty much write themselves.
Right.
And they do, especially fiction. I love fiction because you can make up anything. It doesn't have to be true.
Oh, totally. Yeah. It's a dream.
You can just do whatever you want. And so I finished that first book in 6 weeks. I was out
6 weeks?
Yeah.
Oh, that's pretty quick.
And see, it's not a thick book. But there were 3 characters who show up. They're messengers. They each have a message for my main character, Avery Victoria Spencer.
Oh, wow. It's a pretty name.
They have a message for her. And I just went off in my mind a little bit because when I named the character, I had no idea that if you put those names all together in a row, you get a very victorious pen, sir.
Wow.
I'm a linguist.
I guess.
And I love English, and I love working with English. But anyway, so she went on her journey, and she met up with these characters and got her issues resolved.
Okay.
Which resolved my issues. So it's like watching a movie. If you could put money in a machine and tell the machine, answer my questions or take care of my issues in a story form, that
sounds like fun.
Yeah, wouldn't that just be it? So that's what happened to me. So every time I went through 5 challenges I'm sure there are more than that. but there were 5 that turned in.
Big ones.
Yeah. I had one lady say, okay, are you done with all your issues now? Or,
No.
No, but those are the ones I've written about. And so I think that writing stories and making them fiction is a really good way to get through issues and not get bogged down in them. And that's what happened to me. So that's why I wrote this first story. And the messages of these characters is just extraordinary.
Interesting.
I could not believe. There's the next spirit is the spirit of greatness.
Oh, sounds like a good one. A great one, right?
Well, yes, and that really impressed me because most of us, I don't think about there being greatness.
Oh, totally correct.
Which is unfortunate.
Extremely unfortunate.
Because we are all gifted. We are all, I don't even know what to say, but we're all.
Well, everyone's unique. They have their own skills. They have their own perspectives. There's value in that.
There is for all of us.
Most people aren't willing or aren't aware or are comfortable in the complacency.
Well, and when I had that dream and I wrote the first book, it was, this is not just for you, Vivian.
Sure. Oh, okay.
Yeah, this is for anyone who has issues and wants to read a story that might help them get through it. And then the third character is the spirit of abundant joy and incredible fun. Now, when you're in debt, when you're in debt, you're not thinking about greatness.
Probably not so much.
Probably not thinking about abundant joy and incredible fun, because the burden of carrying financial debt is, this puts you in despair. So this first volume is Dissolving Her Despair is the subtitle, because she's in such despair. Now this woman's a bank president.
Oh.
She is not me, but she's
debt. Okay.
And she is so gifted with other people's money that she can take care of their issues. By the way, the geographical location is Waukesha, Wisconsin, because I've lived there for 40 years, and I love the city and some of its history and authenticity. But so the story takes place there, and so that gave me a nice foundation. But so she's president of a bank in Waukesha in the 1970s, and she can work magic with real estate transactions, with investing. So, you know, the bank, everybody flocks to the bank because she's so good at what she does. But guess what about her own life?
Shambles.
She's a mess.
All right.
She's on the verge of bankruptcy. And, well, whoever heard of a bank president filing for, maybe they do, I don't know, but in my story, she doesn't want that to happen, because that'll ruin her.
Right.
So she's the desperate one. She's the one that goes to bed and says, somebody's got to do something about this. I'm a reasonably intelligent person.
Right.
Why can't I get over this? And the reason she can't get over it is different than what my reason was. But the message, you see, the message is still good for anyone who's struggling with financial issues.
Sure.
Number one, it's not about money. All right?
Right.
Number two, think about who you are as a human being. There is greatness inside of you that wants to be released and expressed.
Totally.
And if you're withholding that, that could be part of the reason that you're struggling like you are. And number three, you're not enjoying life enough and you're not having enough fun.
Fair.
Yes.
Arguable for just about anyone.
Well, these are such universal concepts. And yet, for me, they triggered a turning point in my own relationship with money. And I just want to share all of these with anyone who's interested. So they're out, you know, two of them are out.
So when you tell your husband on March 10th, 2000, you're like, hey, I had this dream, I'm going to get out of debt. He was in debt with you as well, right?
He wasn't what?
Was he in financial dire straits as well?
No.
Okay.
No. I mean, it was a second marriage for both of us. We had 5 children.
Okay.
And so there were certainly issues. But no, I had my own issues.
Okay.
And we kept separate financial identities because back in those days, one spouse's ex could possibly come after the other spouse's funds, and we just wanted that to not be a problem.
Sure.
So anyway, we were doing okay, but I was the one who couldn't stop spending money. Every chance I got, I was in a store, and you know what I get now is I didn't have the greatness piece from inside.
All right.
So I had to keep dressing up my life on the outside, which is a good thing to do.
Sure.
Yeah, but if it is the only reason that you're spending money because you want to look a certain way or be seen in a certain way, your inner life isn't able to get to you with anything.
Right.
And that's why, for me, money became this burden that I had to understand in order to get out of out of debt.
A burden. Interesting.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, yeah.
All right.
Well, debt is a burden.
Debt, yes.
Yes.
Not money.
Oh yeah, thank you for the clarification.
Money's usually
money's
pretty
good.
good.
Money's a good thing.
Debt, not so good.
Yeah,
So I
yeah.
suppose money in parentheses is less than good. Money written in black is
Yeah.
good times.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you. Yeah.
So what made you decide to write a book versus just journaling or something of that nature?
Oh well, this is really a good conversation. Before I wrote these books, I had read a book by Julia Cameron.
Okay.
It's called The Artist's Way.
Oh, sure.
And I was looking for a way to be artistic. I want to be very frank. I love what I do for my consulting business. But fundamentally, it's teaching tax regulations for hours at a time.
Sounds like a roller coaster
Oh,
blast there.
Listen, but I love it.
All right. All right.
And the reason I love it is because I love teaching and I love it when people understand what they're doing. And when you're in a program that delivers affordable housing around the country, you're doing good, you know? So I loved it for all those reasons, but it wasn't what I wanted. It wasn't the only thing I wanted to do in life.
Okay.
It just kept me very busy. So I read her book, and she says, you should write for 30 minutes every morning. Just, it doesn't matter what you write, you just write for 30 minutes every morning, because she says, every one of us is an artist.
Yeah.
We are all artists. And her way for you to find that is to journal for 30 minutes every morning. And so I started doing that faithfully.
All right.
All right. And all of this, everything that I've written, published, whatever, has come from taking that time to go inside. And it doesn't matter if it's dramatic, if it doesn't matter if it's boring, it doesn't, nothing matters except that you get it out, because she says, once you get the top layer off, you get to who you really are. You get to the real you.
All right.
And then watch what happens, because then whatever you really yearn for in your inner self, in your artistic life, that starts to come forward.
Gotcha. Okay.
So I just love it. I just reading that. And my kids were getting older.
Okay.
And so I could take time in the morning to journal while they were getting ready for school and things like that. So I know a lot of people say they don't have time.
Oh, they're wrong.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Because time expands and contracts according to what we give our attention to.
Correct.
It's a
Yes.
quantum physics kind of thing.
Parkinson's law,
Yeah. Oh, is that it?
right? Parkinson's law says that an activity will take the amount of time that you give it.
Oh, yeah.
And so, and you could argue there's discipline, self-control in there as well, as far as writing, doing your artistic stuff, working out, spending time with your kids, getting work done. Insert whatever you should be doing here, and you can make up excuses very easily.
Oh, yeah. So there has to be a compelling reason to go from, gee, I had a dream, to, oh, I'm going to write a story about.
That's a pretty big step,
It is.
at least to get it published.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, by the way, publishing these days is.
Oh, super easy.
Yeah.
I'll challenge that a little bit.
Okay.
Self-publishing, easy.
Yes.
That said, so is going for a jog. A lot
That's
of people
true.
don't do that.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
there's the tools that you have for self-publishing now.
Oh.
It is extremely easy,
Yeah.
but it still has to be done.
Well, and that's the point. There has to be something that compels you, and I believe it has to come from inside.
Oh yeah.
That, and that's where I had to make a major life transition, because I grew up within a framework that said, this is your life, this is what you believe, and this is what you will do. And I ended up, when I was 28, realizing that I could not live that way any longer. I mean, we all go through crises in life, and at the age of 28, I said, no, that's not my life.
Right.
And I had to leave that way of life in order to start my own stuff.
All right.
And I think we all have to do that. So the question is, what drives you from inside? What gives you purpose and joy? And I think too many of us don't go there.
Oh, I'd say a great majority don't.
Yeah.
Yeah, just either they don't know to ask the question, or they don't believe that they're special in any way.
Yeah.
Or maybe, I guess now that I'm thinking about this, maybe they're afraid of what the answer may be. Or maybe they're afraid that they don't know the answer, which, like, you should probably
Well,
figure that out, right?
My character goes through that
Sure.
in this book when she's meeting the spirit of greatness, because she's never heard of greatness. She's very good at what she does, but her life has never told her or taught her that she's worth anything.
Yeah.
She's just doing what she's good at because when she was a child, she didn't have money, and the kids at school teased her and blah, 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 whatever. But she just decided, I'm going to be a bank president because then I will have money. And so it was a purely external purpose for her.
Yeah, but that's okay.
No, not really.
No, okay.
No. It's not satisfying. I can only speak for me. I can't
Okay.
speak for the world. But
Sure.
you get really tired of doing things that aren't satisfying.
Okay.
Or getting stuck somewhere. Or doing things because other people told you this is your life.
Right.
This is what you should be doing. And so I think there are junctures in life where we all come to a place where we can decide to do something different. And that is to follow what drives us inside. Now, caution, please. I'm not saying quit your day job and,
Walk the earth like Cain and Kung Fu,
yeah,
right?
well, whatever works, right?
Right.
I mean, there are people who do that. For me, it was just saying, no, this is not my life. I'm going to start living my life. And that's when all this great stuff started happening. But then, so I have this great life, this great business, and then I get stuck spending too much money. So that's book one.
All right.
I got that done. The next book, I became ill.
Oh,
I was traveling all over the country, changing time zones. My doctor finally said, you've got circadian rhythm dysfunction, just from never knowing what time zone I'm in and having to change time zones. And, my heartbeat got irregular. And then I experienced my first panic attack. Oh, dear. Anyone who's ever had them, you're just sure you're dying, and it's the most awful feeling in the world. So the doctor told me, you're just trying to do too much, and you've got to stop. And I'm like, what? I'm not going to stop. But I love what I do.
right.
So book two, I'm laying in bed. They put me on bed rest, and they're waiting for my heart and all my circadian rhythms to get back in sync, so to speak. And I just start writing her next book.
In the hospital?
I'm at home. They didn't ever have to
Gotcha,
hospital.
okay.
Yeah, but while I'm laying there, if it worked for my money issues, the thought was like, well, maybe it'll work for this issue. Why? Why do I exhaust myself constantly? I mean, I was so weary. But when you have a small company and you're the leader and you're making money and that supports other people, you can get into this rut of, I've got to keep doing this because I've got other people depending on me.
Yeah, it's
And
your
you
job.
can get yourself sick. You can get all messed up over that.
Yeah, it's interesting you say that because I have a couple stories about my dad with his own business where he ended up getting pretty sick. But I tell people in my business planning class that your health is priority one, and your business, if you're not careful, will sacrifice your health because you'll essentially build your own prison. That'll lead to overwhelm and stress, and then your body is going to pump the brakes for you if you don't pump them on yourself.
See?
And like, hey, you need a bladder infection, buddy, to slow down. And it's not a bladder infection because of external whatever, and some bad gas station sushi or something like that. It's your body just pumping the brakes for you, ready or not.
Yeah, I got a diagnosis of interstitial cystitis, which is related.
Okay.
And so it all culminated in, all right, why are you doing this?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, what's the
Stop
goal?
it.
Sure.
So here comes volume 2, which releases June 1st.
Nice. All right.
Yeah. And that is all about unworthiness.
Unworthiness.
Yeah, isn't that interesting that I thought, oh, why am I ill and so tired? And that story takes you on a journey of not feeling like you have the right to take care of yourself. You don't have the right to be yourself.
Oh.
It was such a deep journey. It was much deeper than the first one.
Yeah.
And the character comes to a pinnacle.
Okay.
On top of a mountain. And she has to choose whether to stay there.
Okay.
Which is, she really confronts her fear. In volume 1, she doesn't confront fear. She's really taken aback by this concept of, I've lost my train of thought, of greatness. And it scares her.
Okay.
And so in book 2, she has to confront that fear.
All right.
Which she does. So underneath everything is this sense that I don't deserve. And that plays out in book 2 till she comes to this pinnacle. And she has to decide, am I going to stay on this narrow precipice where I have to try to balance for the rest of my life, or am I going to free fall? And
those
choices
those
are
two
limited.
rough choices.
Yeah, well, it's fiction.
Sure, I was
really
going to say the worst thing that a person can say is I had no choice. But in this case, I feel like there's always an option 3.
There is. In her case, I gave her only 2 because I'd still be writing.
Yeah, right. This isn't War and Peace.
Yeah.
Okay.
So she free falls
Okay.
into presence.
All right.
She wakes up in a wonderful world because she let go of holding on to her fear and letting fear stop her.
So she chose free fall.
She free falls into freedom.
Okay.
And all kinds of magical things happen. Now there's a man involved, and there's,
of course,
there's all kinds of things going on. But that's book 2, and that's coming out June 1st.
All right.
And I had to deal with that because you cannot tap into your greatness if you think you're worthless. I
suppose that's polar opposites right there.
Yeah. And that's what was happening in my business life. People were enjoying what I was doing. They were paying me well. And yet there was this sense of unworthiness. I would get up and teach, and I'd get done, and then I would just criticize myself.
Oh.
Yeah. It was a horrible way to live. So this illness, this second book brought me into, you know what? That's got to stop.
Smart.
We've told you there's greatness in you, there's greatness in everyone. Now you have to own that you're worthy. You are. You're worthy of the freedom to live the life that you want to live. And another thing is that can be a slow change. I'm still in my consulting business.
Right.
I still have that. And I have my books. So you can blend. Life will let you blend if you will let yourself give yourself permission to do it.
Right. I suppose it's prioritizing the priorities, right?
Yeah, and making sure you're right up there.
Yeah, fair.
Yeah.
Fair.
Yeah, because that's hard. I see it all the time. I really do. And I had an encounter that taught me that.
All right.
I didn't realize ever that I was being hard on myself, that I was too judgmental of everything I did. I did not realize that.
Oh, okay.
Until I came to a crisis point in my marriage now.
This is marriage number 1 or 2?
2.
2, okay.
I had to leave number 1 because my belief system just took me out. There's no way to stay in that.
Okay.
My second marriage was and is a fabulous marriage.
Okay.
But if you go into a second marriage with this unworthiness, you can marry the most wonderful person and you won't be able to take it.
Right.
You won't. You will talk yourself out of it because you don't deserve it. So
You believe you don't deserve it.
you believe. Thank you very much. So I wrote my memoir, which we're not really talking about today, but life told me, I mean, not in words, but that, you know what? Yeah, your husband could treat you better, but you could treat you better.
Oh.
So from now on, Vivian, when you look at your husband and you say, you're not treating me right, I'm leaving. My book is called I Was a Yo-Yo Wife. It's because I kept leaving, because it was always my husband's fault. But when I got that message that it's how I treat myself that needed the attention. And so it was just another step on this journey, this worthiness. My marriage transformed, and worthiness to me is the most important thing that each of us must decide whether we're going to accept that gift or not. And our society just doesn't teach that.
No.
Doesn't show us how to
argue that they cater to the weak because the weak will buy stuff.
Yes. Go shopping.
So, I mean, in the end, the old, what is that, retail therapy?
Yep.
I would imagine that there's some psychological choices in advertising, marketing, and stuff like that, where you want a retailer or someone selling whatever stuff wants people to buy.
Yeah.
To boost themselves up for whatever reason. Not that anyone that buys stuff is
No.
necessarily doing it to fix depression or something like that. But where you were talking there initially, were you in this financial dire straits because you kept buying stuff?
Yep.
There's probably a few companies that are like, don't fix that.
Yeah.
Stay right there.
Yeah.
Stay right there.
Well, here's the difference. For me, now, if I go shopping, I do it from a spirit of abundance, abundant joy, and incredible fun. I am worthy. I like this. It would be fun to have it. I always check through to make sure, is it affordable? By my definition, but giving yourself permission to purchase or use money from that spirit is completely different.
A whole different mindset.
I got to have this because I'll look better or whatever, So, or my house will look better and people will think better of me because I'm fitting this image that I want people to have of me.
It would be a purchase by you for them, and in turn that would make you happy versus just a purchase for you.
Yeah.
Bypass that middleman.
Yeah, that.
Or middlewoman.
Yeah. Yes. So, book 2 was extremely important because I couldn't get to greatness until I got through unworthiness. And now there are 3 more volumes after these 2. So,
are these problems to come, or are these problems that already happened?
All of them are written.
Okay.
And I did have that 20 years, so I'm.
All right.
Yeah, I took my time. I mean, 5 problems in 20 years is one every 4 years. No, those are the ones that I got the stories on.
You know what? I had this employee. He was a younger kid, 23, 22, something like that. He was preparing to get married, engaged. I think they were getting married in a year or something like that. He was the one that was planning the wedding. He had some health issues, which he wanted to elaborate on, and I didn't want to listen to because, one, I don't think I can from a legal standpoint, and two, it's really none of my business. Mm-hmm. So anyways, we had this conversation because he was not doing so hot at work. And he started using these excuses. I'm preparing for my wedding. I got this little heart thing that has literally nothing to do with me doing the job. But just excuses. And I asked him, so in a year, you'll be married. In 6 months, you had some surgery going on. So after you got the surgery to take care of your health stuff and you're married, do you believe that you will have no more problems?
Yeah.
Right, you laughed.
Yeah,
and I was asking it just like to point out something.
Yeah.
He's like, yeah, I'll be done with problems. And I'm like,
That's youth.
no, right? That's totally youth. I'm like, no, you will always have a problem. And if you don't have a problem, you'll make up a problem.
Yeah.
You'll be the one calling, complaining that the receipt is too long at the store or something like that
Yeah.
because you don't have anything else to complain about.
And as we get older, those complaints get more vocal. If we haven't given ourselves permission to really live life the way we want to live it. I've watched this happen in older people, and I don't want to stereotype, but if you are not happy with the life you've lived, boy, I just see anger and bitterness and so I'm working on me. And we get those challenges because we're supposed to work through our stuff so we can live a better life.
Yeah.
So those are gifts.
Absolutely.
They really are. And that's hard to grasp when you're going through your challenges. But if you get that on the other side or right where you're going through it, you're going to get a gem. You're going to get something that's just going to make all the difference in the world to you. That's what those are really about.
I have a quote in my workout room from Arnold Schwarzenegger, and I forget it word for word, but essentially the premise is this pain is your privilege. So no one else gets to feel that pain. This is all you, but it's a growth.
It is. Work with it. Let it talk to you. It's got a message. And once you get the message, and apply the message, the other side is relief and more authenticity.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting. It would be it's interesting when you think, what if the world, or let's just even say a neighborhood, thought in this way, or had you, dare I say, evolved to experience that or to believe that, what could they do as a group?
And I'm a linguist, so I take the word evolve and I realize that you can spell love with evolve.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And I think that love and evolving go hand in hand.
Interesting. All right.
Yeah. I love what we can learn with our words. But back to your point.
Yeah.
We can change the world. We can change our experience of the world as we go in and learn how to enjoy our lives. There's nothing like being with happy people.
Right.
There aren't enough of them in the world, but there's just nothing like it. And you get the sense that they're, to use that word again, they're real, they're authentic, they're living their life, and it doesn't matter that you might see things differently. And they're not rude about it, but they're just so full of enthusiasm that, it's a magical way to live.
It's probably, to some point, learned, because they've learned that, I guess certainly something that I've learned, when I walk into a party, and I don't know anyone, I'd rather not just sit in a corner and watch people. I'd rather go meet people. And some people you meet, you're like, I don't need to chat with you that long. And other people you meet, you're like, whoa,
Yes.
this is life-changing.
Yeah, absolutely. I just think life is magical. The older I get, the more magic I see.
Oh, nice.
We just recently moved.
Okay.
We had a big house and land that had to be mowed.
Oh,
And
sure.
a big barn. And my husband is done with that, you
Okay.
know? And we just decided to move. So we went from 3 acres and a barn and a long driveway and all the snow toys that eventually aren't fun toys anymore.
Right, it's work, it's
And
maintenance.
we went to 3/4 of an acre in a neighborhood with a short driveway, but the house is still big enough for us. And it was absolutely magical.
Oh, nice.
You know, we put our house on the market. The second or third family that looked at it made us an offer. We turn around because we got to find a place to live, and we find the perfect place for us to move.
Oh, very
and
cool.
it all happened within 6 weeks. We were loaded, packed, and moved.
Wow.
Yeah. So
That's impressive alone.
Isn't that a fun way to live?
Yes.
And that all I'm saying is, you've got to believe your way there. You've got to, and you've got to love your way there. In my memoir, I say there's one door. There's one door we must go through
Okay.
to live the life we want to live.
Okay.
And that's adore.
Adore.
We must adore
Oh,
ourselves.
got it.
You must fall in love with the real person that you really are. You must adore. And that is not prideful. That is being who you are with no excuses and letting your light shine.
Right.
Yeah. Just
Interesting.
let your light shine.
You raised an interesting point about the humbleness that maybe people are afraid of, or afraid to seem too eccentric or too narcissistic, I suppose.
Or selfish.
Selfish, sure.
Yeah. You know, it's such a misconception because the more you are expressing your true self, the more generous, the more
absolutely.
expansive, the more life opens up to you. So it's just the opposite of what we're afraid of. If
Yeah.
I take time for myself, something bad is going to happen. I lived that life for a very long time.
Okay, that was a belief.
That was.
Past
And I
tense.
was raised
Okay.
very much that way.
Oh.
That you don't, your life is already determined for you. Don't even think about what you want because that's wrong. Because this is the way. So it was kind of a cultish kind of
Interesting.
thing.
Okay.
Yeah. But the point is, in reality, it's just the opposite. Whatever you believe that contradicts what's in your heart, if you will have the courage to take a step, you'll find out that it's wrong and the world is just an awesome place.
Fair. Totally fair.
It is. I just love it. So 3 more books to come out yet this year.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That's impressive.
Well, as I said, they're all written. And listen, I have a team.
Oh.
I have a team that
Okay.
everybody knows their job. And so since the stories are essentially written in regular English, I can do the conversion to my gender inclusive form of English while everybody else is editing and putting the rest of the story together.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
I want to touch really quick on it's WEnglish.
Yeah.
Did I say that right?
We English or Winglish.
Winglish.
What's
Okay.
important is the WE. It's
Okay.
making English an inclusive language for all
Gotcha.
genders.
We English. Okay.
Yeah.
How do you get an editor to edit We English?
You hire them yourself.
Okay. And you must have to train them
Oh,
Because I
they're
imagine
trained.
eventually they have to get an eye for that. I suppose if they're reading it, would that be an eye or a
Well,
brain for that?
Actually, I've done most of the conversion into
Okay.
English. Now, I have the woman whose name is also on the cover, Ann Wondra.
Yeah.
She's worked with me for 10 years, so she can take a book in English and convert it to Winglish.
Oh, wow.
And it's not hard to do. There's just a few word changes, but what it does is it gives people better words to choose and use.
All right.
Because English has 39,000 words that include man. And no words that give women words of their own.
Okay.
So all I've done is create a few words that are spelled linguistically the way they're pronounced. And I'm experimenting with how women feel, which we spell WIMIN in We English. Just a few words of their own. And I see a spark.
All right.
I see a spark kind of developing where we've never thought of that. We've never thought that the words we use are so male dominant, and yet there is science behind this that I've done research that says that there's a subliminal undercurrent to have a language that's so full of man words. There's a subliminal indifference toward women that language creates. And if we just change our language a little bit, it frees women up. And so I'm experimenting with that by printing my books both in regular English and this gender inclusive English. And I want to test it because there's some science that makes it sound like, I mean, why not?
Sure.
You know?
Yeah, why not? I like it.
Yeah.
So you also have your consulting business?
Yes.
Full-time gig?
Oh, let me tell you, it has always been my primary breadwinning gig, and I love it. I have a partner now, and this is just another one of those magical things that just happened.
Sure. Business partner?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because, thank you. That needs to be clarified, doesn't it?
Well,
I have a
it could
business
go anywhere,
partner.
right?
And I've been looking for a partner for years and years. And I've tried several different ones. They failed.
Oh, it's tough.
Oh, it is.
Yeah.
And expensive, can we just say.
Well, any business mistake.
Yeah. So just a year and a half ago, something prompted me to put an ad on ZipRecruiter.
Wow.
I know what it was. My two key people had found different jobs.
Oh.
For excellent reasons.
Okay.
Excellent reasons. One could make a lot more money, and the other one had an issue and had to move to be with family. So, but I'm left without two people that I trusted with so much. And so I just said, okay, life, okay.
Fix it.
Hey, I'm in. Whatever you want, I'm in. So I put an ad on ZipRecruiter.
For a business partner?
Yeah. Well, I just, for my business, I didn't put the partnership aspect in. I just told them what their skill set needed to be.
Gotcha. So you essentially portrayed it as needing an employee.
Yep.
Was the goal then to find a business partner?
Oh, absolutely.
Well, that is bold. I like
and
that.
Believe it or not, a woman replied that I knew.
Oh.
I hadn't talked to her in years, but she replied, and she had the most complementary skill set to my skill set that I told her right during the interview. I said, this is about partnership. And if you're not interested, I'm not interested. And
in the partnership?
Yeah.
Wow. She came to the interview looking for a job, and you're like, buy in, lady.
Yeah. And it's a year and a half now.
Wow.
And it was meant to be. It's just another one of those things.
All right, and so far so good.
Yeah.
Year and a half, that's a long ways into a partnership. So
It is. A lot of them don't make it to that point.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
How did she react when you said that?
She said, I'm in.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, she knew me,
Okay.
and I think she liked me.
Okay, well, let's hope so.
And she liked what I stood for, because whenever I teach, I might be teaching tax regulations, but I'm really saying, oh, you are so important to life. You make such a difference to life. And now let's talk about how to qualify a household. But don't forget that every day you're making such. So that's the message I took out into this tax advantaged culture.
Interesting.
And she liked that a lot. So we were in tune on that level, and that's the level I think you got to be in tune philosophically in order for a partnership to work. You might know things, but if you don't sync, it's
Doesn't work.
hell. It's just horrible.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So once you found her, did you then look for additional employees, or? Okay.
Yep.
Found them?
Yep.
All right.
Yep.
Nice. So
Everything's
the train is
rocking
moving
and
now.
rolling.
All
Yep.
right.
And so I have specific tasks I do for. The name of the company is TheoPro.
Okay.
TheoPro. And my train of thought just went off track.
Employees and
Yeah. And but its focus is training.
okay.
Training people who work in this industry how to do their jobs.
All right.
And so it's very technical, and you got to have fun. And that's my strong suit, is having fun teaching. And so I have one more big project to do for TheoPro,
Okay.
and then I can teach when I want to. I can write when I want to. I'm old enough to be more than retired.
All right.
I'm past the age when that's okay to do that.
Okay.
And so my husband's retired, but I don't know, James.
You're having fun?
Oh yeah. So I don't know what's next, except I finish these books. I make sure TheoPro is going strong and steady, and life will give me my next assignment when it's time,
All right.
which I will joyfully accept, because that's what I've learned to do. Just say yes to what's in your heart.
Okay.
Don't say yes to everybody and everything.
Right.
Just you got to say yes to what's in here.
I want to clarify something a little bit
Yeah.
with you. So when you say you're giving life essentially permission to move you, or maybe I should ask this: are you giving permission life to move you, or to guide you, or to offer suggestions?
All of the above, and it's really your intuition.
Okay.
You know, it's really your gut instinct. The biggest thing I've learned to do in my life is listen.
Oh, all right.
Listen to what's going on in here. We don't listen enough. And I've learned that that's the most important thing to do, because everything about yourself and what your life is about, and where you're going to find your deepest satisfaction and sense of purpose is in listening to what comes in to your imagination, your psyche, your whatever it is, and do it. Just try it.
I like it.
That's it. It's
All
just
right.
listening.
Fair. That's good advice. Vivian, I know we're pretty much out of time here. Where can people find your books, I guess now and in the future?
Yeah, just type into any search engine, just type in The Woman Who Forgot Who She Was.
All right.
And this
Boom, yeah.
is the Wenglish version.
Okay.
So it's spelled differently, and you can see it on on the screen the two books in regular English.
Yeah.
But you right next to them, you will find the books in WEnglish or Winglish if
right.
you're interested in that version. And I want to tell your listeners that I am very open. My email is vivian@vivianprobst.com.
Easy enough.
So easy. And I want feedback.
Okay.
Especially on my Winglish or WEnglish version. Doesn't make a difference.
All right.
Just spell a few words differently. It's my thesis in life now.
Fair.
Is to take that
Fair.
forward. Yeah.
Awesome. And is it vivianprobst.com for your website? Awesome. Well, thank you so much.
Very tricky, right?
Yeah, right. Thank you so much for being on the show. This is cool.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much.
I feel like it's impressive. You got a lot going on. You solve some problems. You run a great company. You're writing some books, helping the world in the way that you can and know that you do. Plus, you're taking on the English language. So,
and
there's that.
Yeah. We can all, all of us have that gift. All of us have it. But we have to find it for ourselves.
Fair. Share your gift. I like it.
Yeah.
I like it. Cool. Well, thank you so much for listening. We are underwritten locally by the Bank of Sun Prairie. If you are listening to this or watching this on the web, if you could do me a huge favor, give a thumbs up, subscribe, share, and of course, let all your friends know that Vivian has great books, a great business, and you can always reach out to her. There's not too many people that you can do that with now. Even I try to call my accountant for the past 2 days and I can't get a hold of him. You're right here.
And then you can get a hold of some people, but you wish you hadn't.
Yeah. The worst. Awesome. Well, thank you for joining us on the Authentic Business Adventures podcast, TV show, radio program. We do it all here. Thank you for listening. We'll see you next week. I want you to stay awesome. And if you do nothing else, enjoy your business.